I'm wrong, though. Anyway, moving on to Spellblade. This is a pretty fun boss. Spellblade is a pretty cool encounter. It goes through, I don't know, what's that encounter? The one in last expansion, the green zone. What was the green zone? With the forest? And the boss that went through fire, arcane, frost phases. It's very similar to that. It's going to go through different phases throughout the entire encounter. The abilities change. And this is a pretty common theme with a lot of these casters. They will have base abilities, and those abilities change later on. So here we're going to start with Spellblade. Alright, so Spellblade's pretty cool. Initially, you will always start in the frost phase. Tanks have a debuff. One sec here. Pull up my notes. Tanks have an ability that need to stand together like Gwarm. It's very similar. It splits damage. The main tank will take more damage for their 1.5 minutes. You can tank swap, whatever. Tanks have an easy job here. Let's be honest. So the first phase is Frost. Frost is pretty cool. You'll see the weak auras pop up here in a second. So there's some balls happening from the mages. Annihilate. Yeah. Okay. So the first marks of Frost happen. Now, depending on your raid size, on a size of this, we had 4 marks go out. And now what the Mark of Frost does, you'll see it happen in a second here. There. Certain people get targeted by a Mark of Frost. And we had 2 groups assigned. We had a green marker and a blue marker. And now we had 8 people total assigned to Marks of Frost. So you see a Mark of Frost on Ganner and Memancer. And look what happens. So they will have a debuff that gets stronger and stronger and stronger until eventually kills them. The only way to get rid of this debuff is they need to take those big blue balls that they have and push them together. So watch what happens when they collapse together, when Ganner's and Memancer's balls touch. Here they go. Almost. There. And so when you touch balls, then the balls jump on somebody else. So now myself and Roshi have the Mark of Frost. Now we found it, I know our strats is something a little bit different on the GG forums. 5 or 6 balls, 5 or 6 stacks before you jump to somebody else. Now, when you touch together, it'll jump to the next closest person. So then we readjusted ourselves to the blue marker here. There. And Mark of Frost. We're at 5 stacks, 6 stacks, 7 stacks. Now there's some confusion here because Memancer's in the wrong spot. You see here, by green marker, his partner's up there, whereas Memancer ran over to us. He shouldn't be here. So again, you want to pair them up, right? So Islet and Memancer have it. There should be touching balls by the green marker there. So we tell him, get away from us, get away from us. Well, Roche eventually blinks up. So I touch balls with Memancer. At 12 stacks, that's a lot. And then the mark jumps again to 2 other people. So it's basically bouncing back and forth between these players. Now, Detonate is also one of the abilities on this boss. I don't know, whatever. Spellblade detonates the Marks of Frost, whoever has them. So watch what happens. So Mark of Frost, again, same thing, we're going to jump it. Now Detonate happens. Wherever you're standing with Mark of Frost, you will spawn a big blue puddle there. So watch, Marks of Frost happening, and big blue puddles. So don't stand in big blue puddles, right? Really easy. That's a pool of frost. Now from these pools of frost, you'll spawn big icy elementals. These elementals need to be picked up by your tanks, brought into melee, and just AoE the crap down. One of these elementals will get stronger, and you'll see what happens here. And then look, we have Marks of Frost again. We're still dealing with this stuff. I guess that one didn't collapse, so we just have to wait for that one to expire. So what one of the elementals does is they charge up. They do this big wintry, again, big blue circle. If you are standing inside this big blue circle like our tanks and our melee, you take damage. The damage isn't super strong. The important thing is you don't cross the threshold. So if you're on the inside of the blue circle, you stay inside the blue circle. If you're on the outside of the blue circle, like all of our ranged and healers, you stay on the outside. If you try to cross, you'll get frozen. You'll see that happen. You see there's an icicle on the right side there. Somebody tried to cross. On the left side there, somebody tried to run out. So you're either stuck inside or you're stuck outside, and there's no in between. So the big one he's casting is Frozen Tempest. That's the big blue ability. He kills it, and then it's going to go away. So again, you're cleaving these down. They're not a huge priority, but the one that is casting should be focused down. Otherwise, you're cleaving them down. There's a Frozen Tempest. And yeah, somebody else got frozen there. Those are the ice shards. So you're breaking people out, similar to Sindragosa. If you guys remember the big blocks, right? You got to break your friends out. Well, don't get frozen, right? If you're on the inside, you take some more damage. That's fine. If you're on the outside, don't run into the middle. Makes it really easy. Yeah, and the big frost ad, that does it, right? Roshi's totally right there. The one that gets empowered gets really strong. And that's it for Frost Phase. That's pretty much it, right? There's the marks of Frost. You're bouncing between players. That's the hardest part to get your heads around. Mark of Frost, have teams of people doing it. It'll bounce to the next closest people that also don't have it. Well, Sparty, could I have all 4 people stacked together and just bounces between them? No, because it'll prefer people that do not have the, I think it's permafrost debuff, whatever it is. So you can't really stack them all together like that. Next ability here, so from Frost he goes into Fire. You'll see little fire beams pointed at us. In this phase, so the Searing Brand, right, there was Mark of Frost, well now it's Searing Brand. So this is the Fire phase. When a Searing Brand happens, he targets different players, and he's going to have little fire ghosts or elementals. Frost now jumps to 1 person. On live they change it. Fantastic. I'll have to make that change to 1 person. Oh. This makes it super easy. We'll see. We'll see what happens on Heroic anyway. I'd rather err on the side of it's going to be a lot more difficult than what it is. But thanks, Ray. So, you'll have little fire elementals running towards you. Do not stand in the path of this beam. That's really important. Do not stand in the path of this beam because you get a fire debuff. Watch what happens. Mark on me. So nobody should be in that path, so stay spread out. If you do have the beam, do not run around. You're going to screw over your melee, which are trying to dodge these beams anyway. So if you have a beam like these guys, this is a really great job by Jungle, I don't know who that is on the left side there, and then someone on the right side there too, and myself. Staying spread out, you get knocked back, these fire elementals, ghosts knock you back, and anybody they charge through also gets debuffed. There, we finished off the Frost phase, a little bit slow, but we also had dead DPS. Some people got frozen. So whoever gets the mark, you get a Searing Brand, right? So you get the Searing Brand, the mark. The more people it passes through. So Lurchi, for instance, he stood in the path of that big fire line. He's now marked. He's going to explode. You want to minimize the amount of people that have this debuff on them because of the next thing, the Detonate, right? Detonated in Frost, had elementals. Detonating in Fire, going to have more fun stuff. Can you immune off the Frost debuff? I don't think so. The mages might have tried. I can't recall if I tried immuning them. So watch what happens to Detonate. There. So initially, it should have only been 4 puddles. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 puddles, which means 2 of the melee got hit by it, which was completely avoidable. So big puddles of fire on the ground. Well, what do I do for this mechanics party? Don't stand in fire. Really simple, right? So there's the fire. I still got the mark on me doing some damage. Alright, then it goes away. Now, during the next phase, so it always goes from mark to detonated to animate. So Spellblade Aluriel now says animate. Well, guess what? He's going to animate those piles of fire. And they turn into elementals. These elementals, they cast pyroblasts, right? It's pyroblast or pyroclasm, pyroblast. They're interruptible, they're stunnable, they're knockbackable. Do not let them get their cast off. They do more and more damage. So you want to minimize amount of elementals by not getting hit by the brand, right? It's all sort of a, it all links together. If fewer people get hit by the charge, you'll have less elementals, much easier time. Well, Sparty, why can't I just AoE these down? Well, great question. Because for every single elemental within 8 yards of another elemental, they attack faster and they do more damage. So you can't just stack them all. You might be able to. Some guilds, we'll see what happens in strats they use. You might be able to just AoE them down, get a big 6-second stun on them, and blow them the hell up. We'll see what happens, right? This one, we were spread out, which is pretty good. And we're casting our stuff here. Trank good. And again, they are a priority target. Right? They are going to murder you. But again, more interrupts, lots of stuns, really easy to do. Talon Bubble AoE Taunt? Potentially, right? Again, that is the more advanced techniques there. All right, and that's it for Fire Phase, right? So there's a Brand, there's a Detonate, and an Animate. Okay, well now we're going to go deal with the Arcane Phase. With the Arcane Phase of this encounter, same thing. Like there's balls that you have to dodge, right? Don't stand near the balls. So the boss will be moved at this point, right? They're big exploding purple balls. Just keep their rate together. Makes it super simple. There's not much this one. I think this is one of the easier phases anyway. And now the detonate's going to happen. So when those orbs detonate, watch what happens here. If you guys remember, if you guys remember Garrosh, remember the Garrosh purple swirls, right, that you'd have to run together as a raid? It's very, very similar to that. So the entire raid is stacked because these orbs will target a player. And you want to bait these in a certain spot, right? If you bait them all together, fantastic. Because if you're spread apart, it'll be a lot harder because every time the orbs or the balls land, they spawn an arcane fog on the ground. So there, we're trying to move together as a team. I ran the wrong way there, but I did bait it the other way. So all these orbs coming down, don't stand in them. And you see what they spawn? Purple swirls on the ground. You want to minimize how many purple swirls. Then again, you have a ton of room here, so be very careful. The other big thing is you do want to stack these because you want to AoE the next elementals that spawn. Is it like Archimonde's Fire Patches? They come after raid members? Sort of. I mean, they will target a random player, so if all the players are stacked together, you know you're going to bait them in a certain area. So now these elementals spawn, they're casting Armageddon. And part of the reason you want to stack these together is so you can AoE the crap out of them, right? They have an uninterruptible spell called Armageddon. If you do not interrupt it, you die. Or sorry, if you don't kill them, you die. They're not interruptible. So by stacking them together, instead of spreading apart, you make it a lot easier for your DPS to blow them up. So here we are, murdering all the little elementals. Right, I tried to use my blinding light there, didn't work. They're not stunnable, not interruptible, nothing like that. You have to DPS them down. And I believe you have 20 seconds. Is it 20 seconds to DPS them down? Something like that. And then you go back to Frost Phase. That's it. I mean, it seems really complicated, but you know, we'll see what happens on Heroic again if they've changed it down to one Mark of Frost or jumps to one person. Again, here's myself and Roshi dealing with the Mark of Frost, and it's going to jump to the two closest people. So if you're not assigned to dealing with the Mark of Frost, don't be near these guys. Is it 30 seconds? Thank you, TBG. Cheese all the way on for the waves. Well, we'll see what kind of cheesing we can do. Yeah, and this fight is great, and Roshi makes a great point, because everything's on a very strict timer. There's no, like, RNG involved. It is completely predictable. It is complete strict timers. Super easy, right? There's no RNG, right? We all hate RNG. There's no such thing as RNG. But yeah, I mean, that's what makes Fight Like Slay Shen really good, because there's no randomness involved. It's always on you. Always assume it. It's very controllable. There's Marks of Frost, right? And then the Pools of Frost, and from the Pools of Frost, what happens? Well, Elemental spawns. So when he does his animate, soon, they're going to collapse. There's the Elementals, while we're still dealing with the last set of Frozen Patches. So again, we're going to stack everything in, tanks pick them up, AoE them down. Again, the big one, the one that's casting Frozen Tempest, is always your priority. So focus this one down, because the longer this one's up, the more damage you're taking in melee. Okay, questions about this one? Outlaw triggering intensifies. You want to AoE, don't you? Yeah, again, so one thing I do want to say, though, please ignore the DPS, the healing, all that stuff. This is, well, I don't know, this is months ago. This one I think was a couple months ago, so well before tuning passes, well before 7.5, before Tuesday's patch. So please ignore the numbers completely. They will be much different come this Tuesday. So I have a question. Is if it's going on 2 people after the balls touch, can you just do sets of 4? That's the thing, right? Well, that's what we did. We did 2 sets of 4 right there. Everybody tried to crush the threshold, and they got frozen. So the way it happened for us is it targeted 2 people, and then they let their stacks happen, and then they touched the balls, and then jumped on 2 more people, right? And it rotated back and forth. So those 4 were jumping them back and forth, and another set of 4 were bouncing it back and forth. I anticipate it'll work the same way. Can you handle it with 4? How many stacks of Frostbite were you at? So we were handling like 6, 7 stacks, right? Let's go back a couple seconds here. Let's go back even further. So here it's going to jump. Actually, there's a replicate there. Let's go back even more into the arcane. So myself and Roshi, like, honestly, we'll see what kind of damage, because again, the damage scales based off how many players you have in the raid. We were going like 5, 6, 7 stacks. I even got to 12 stacks at one point because one of the mages ran to the wrong spot. So we'll see what happens here with the stacks. Yeah, I mean, everybody was scaled, so yeah. Anyway, Marks of Frost happening here. So this is by the blue marker, since I'm assigned to them. Myself and Roshi is going to jump to. You see how we're standing in a good spot? And so the first mark of frost is on 2 people, right? The next mark of frost is, you know, on somebody else, on 2 other people, and they're going to be at green. So watch the next mark of frost. It's going to happen on Eyelid and Brandhisa, so they go to green. So it typically targets range and healers. I'm at 5 stacks, 6 stacks, 7 stacks, and then it expires. So that we felt was fine. Again, I think 5 or 6 might be a safe number. We'll see. Again, we'll see what kind of HP people have. This is all heroic, right? So as I'm going into heroic now with 50 traits, you know, it should not be that much of an issue. If I was going to heroic with 35 traits, I obviously have a lot less HP and gear, so you may not be able to go as high stacks. This is boss 7 Enrage on health percentage, just gets faster and faster. Doesn't get faster and faster, it just rinses and repeats every single time. What other notes that I have here? That's it. Searing Brand, Arcane. I have all these notes, I'm not even reading them. Don't get by balls, touch. Yeah, just rinse and repeat. I don't believe she had an enrage. I don't know what her enrage is. So there. Berserk timer is like 9 minutes. So honestly, you can take a long time to do this. On the live service, you just need 3%. I have to double check how it's going to work on live service. How viable do you think of mass gripping all the fire elementals and during some rotation in them is? Well, that's what we suggest too, right? Like maybe some guilds will go, hey, mass grip, you know, bubble mass taunt, and blow them up. So if you look at fire elementals, animate searing brand, pyroblast, and bound in flame. So damage is increased by 200%, and casting speed increased by 100% for every ally within 8 yards. Potentially, I can't recall how much HP they're going to have. If you have enough AoE, yeah, it might work. I think that's what guilds will eventually start doing, is bringing their elementals to one section of the room, right? Let me borrow somebody here. So you might just bring them to one section of the room. There. So let's say you bring all your elementals around here, and then you grip them together, or like, you know, they're in a clump like this, grip them together, stun rotation, AoE them down. Realistically though, how many seconds of a stun are you going to get? 10 seconds tops, right? Right, there's 4 elementals, so again, 10 seconds tops with perfect stuns because of the diminishing returns of your stuns. And then after that, they're immune from stuns. So you better kill them within 10 seconds. How long did it take us? I don't know. Let's take a look again really quick. Let's go back to fire phase. It's arcane. It's frost. Alright, here comes the fire phase soon. There. So Searing Brand, again, targeted, 4 of us. So we should only theoretically get 4 elementals, right? Again, I'm sure it'll change based off your raid size. So if you have 30 people in the raid, like 6 people are going to get targeted. They can be interrupted? Yeah, they can be interrupted as well, but they cast super fast, right? So the 5 of us got it there, or it looks like 6 of us. I think it was a tank as well that also got hit, based off who's taking damage right now. And detonate happens, right? So you may just want to drop them all like near each other. Again, it depends, right? You're gonna have a big patch of fire. You have to be very careful with people that are standing close to each other. Was it 5 that had the brand? Maybe I mistimed it or mislooked. Yeah, maybe it was 5. Yeah, I think it's one of those fights where, well, you definitely want to be AoE spec for the elementals, right? At the same time, you don't want this fight to go on forever because your healers run out of mana. So it depends. There's plenty of fights like this that are a fair balance, like Scorpion, right? Good amount of AoE, single target to make sure we push the boss in time to meet those enraged checks. Yeah, pretty good one. And yeah, I mean, again, they're interruptible, they're stunnable, you can do whatever you want, knock them back. Solar Beam, I don't know. I mean, we haven't looked at a Solar Beam stun rotation. That's also a pretty good idea, right? Silence them so they can't cast. I don't know if they're silenceable. And there's the orbs in Arcane. So you want to move away from them ASAP because they will just murder your entire raid. And yeah, the Arcane one is pretty simple. Arcane orbs spawn near players. Just move the boss away. Keep the raid together, nice and healed, and make it a little easy for your raid. Fire Elementals weren't on the aggro table. Yeah, maybe they weren't. I can't remember. Yeah, they might not be tauntable. But again, we'll see, right? I'm sure guilds will try different things on normal and heroic. And again, this is all based off of PTR testing and beta, and things are going to change for sure. Let's see. Yeah. Also want to recruit Boomkins, TBG. I love some Boomkins. Okay, any other questions? You want the touch the balls before the debuff expires? So try to, no, your question was, should we touch the balls before debuff expires for Frost? Whatever is, because again, the more stacks you have, the more damage you take. So you have to take enough stacks that you are not going to die, but also not be jumping the Frost back and forth constantly. So about 5 stacks is pretty safe to do it. The Searing Brand only target the range, so melee can stand in the opposite side and not get hit. Forearms, no, because Lurchi got marked. So melee will also get targeted by the fire mark. Good question. You still immune the Frost debuff? I'm not sure, Yuzumat. Yeah, good questions. Do you try the Blood Elf Racial? Who plays a Blood Elf? I don't know. You might be able to silence them with your Arcane Blood Elf thing. When did we hear on this one? I don't know. It depends. You can hear at the start, right? We hear it on the pull, I think, for this one. Just because, well, I think we hear it at the end, actually, just to kill it eventually. Yeah, because we're on 10-minute timer there. We might have heard it during the Arcane phase. I can't recall. I mean, Fire Elementals are the big one. Arcane ones, I think we might have heard it during Arcane phase. Let's go back for a second here. Oops, let's go forward. Apologize for jumping across here. Arcane Orbs. Arcane Orbs. Here comes the Detonate. Again, you're moving as a group here, ideally. So you might want to put markers for your group to move. And again, don't be ahead of your entire group where you get people killed. So there come the little puddles, and from the little puddles spawn the Arcane Elementals. Thanks, GoFax. Thanks a lot, man, for your support. And from the Elementals, you know, AoE them down. Blow them up. Yeah, I guess we hear it during the Arcane phase to blow these up. Because you have 30 seconds, but if you have an Arcane Elemental really far away, you're going to screw over your raid and your DPS. So do try to keep them together to AoE them down. Not interruptible, not stunnable, but yeah, AoE them. And then right to Mark of Frost right afterwards. Pretty straightforward encounter. I like it. It was good. I mean, it's predictable. It's no random crap. It's great. People love these encounters. Okay, I think that is it for Spellblade Aluriel. Are they grippable? I would imagine they are. I'm not sure if we had a Death Knight to try that. Yeah, I can't recall. So, that's Spellblade Aluriel in a nutshell. But yeah, we'll definitely be trying. I'm sure other guilds will be trying, or other guilds have tried